Hi, I'm AJ, and I'm going to guide you through the fourth component of your breathography breath cycle, breath retentions. Now, not all breathography breath cycles include breath retentions. Starting at level 2, we will sometimes add a 2-beat breath pause or breath retention at the conclusion of your 8-second exhalation pattern. Now, there are 8 total levels of breathography. Within the 8 levels of breathography, we move from level 1, 0 breath retentions. We're just focusing on that 8-second exhalation pattern. Level 2, we sometimes add a 2-beat breath retention. Level 3, a 2 and a 4-beat breath retention. So on and so forth, stepping up the ladder until we get to level 8 breathography, in which we will, at times, in certain lower intensity exercises, add in a 10 or a 12-beat breath retention at the conclusion of our 8-second exhale. Now, that is advanced. If you are a novice and you've never done any breath holds before, that is not for you yet. In fact, I always recommend that you walk up to level 8 breathography gradually and strategically, measuring your CO2 tolerance along the way and making sure that you're adapting. Anywhere between 7 to 14 days is generally the quickest speed in which you will adapt to those breath retentions. So for today, we're going to begin with our 2-beat breath retentions at the conclusion of our 8-second exhalation. So we're going to go zip up, activation, engaged inhale, engaged exhale. You have a certain level of mastery with those 3 primary components of the breathography breath cycle, and then we're going to add a 2-beat breath retention. That's it right now. So let's practice. Push yourself back against the wall in your anatomical position, just like we've been doing in all of our videos so far. Zip up. Let's go. Inhale. Hiss. Pelvic floor, navel, ribs, shoulders, head. Double engaged inhale. 1, 2. 8-second engaged exhale. Blow. Hiss. Soft shish. Loud shish to rain the air. Hold the breath for 2. 1, 2. And release. And so you see, when you add that breath retention at the conclusion of the 8-second engaged exhale, you are holding tight those abdominals that you've fired up, that you've activated within that 8-second exhalation. So it's very strategic for isolating and strengthening the abdominal wall and holding it with that breath retention. And then it also serves as the foundation for improving your CO2 tolerance or carbon dioxide tolerance, because you are increasing the carbon dioxide in your body when you breathe more slowly and when you also add breath retentions. And also, this is our inner altitude training. This is us achieving that inner altitude, because we will, when we get to some of those longer breath holds and the more intense exercise, we will intermittently throughout the workout lower our blood oxygen to a safe level, right? This is just the natural lowering of the oxygen that happens when you climb a mountain. But you're not going to Mount Everest immediately, right? You're not going to level 8 breathography immediately. You are very slowly and in a controlled way, adding in just very light pauses at the end of the 8-second exhalation. So right now, I want to practice going cyclically through our breath cycle, 4 sets in a row with our 2-beat breath retention at the conclusion of our 8-second engaged exhale. Okay, so right after we perform that 2-beat breath retention, we're going to go right into a release inhale. And this is just a release normal inhale. So that's not an engaged inhale. Okay. And then we're going to go right back to our zip up activation. Double engaged inhale, 8-second engaged exhale, 2-beat breath hold or 2-beat breath retention. Release. Number 3, zip up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're always going to begin every single breath cycle with that zip up activation. Let's begin. Hands back against the wall. Inhale and hiss. Pelvic floor, navel, ribs, shoulders, head. Inhale 1. Inhale 2. Engaged exhale. Blow. Hold for 2. Release. Inhale. Zip up. Hiss. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 1. Inhale 2. Blow. Hold for 2. 1, 2. Inhale. Release again. Hiss. Pelvic floor, navel, ribs, shoulders, head. Inhale 1. Inhale 2. Blow. Hold for 2. 1, 2. Inhale. And one more time. Hiss. Hiss. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 1. Inhale 2. and blow. Right in the air. Hold the breath for 2. 1, 2, and release. Really nice work. I know. Feels so intense in the abdominals, and you really feel those respiratory muscles working as well. Now, part 2 of your breath retention lesson is breath retention formula. Many times in some of the more intermediate or advanced workouts, or even in the beginning workouts, when we start to add some of those 2-beat breath holds, at the beginning of the breathography breath cycle, I will say your breath retention formula is 2-4-4, or 0-2-2, or 0-2-0. That means if you hear those 3 numbers, then you're performing that length of a breath retention at the conclusion of your breathography breath cycle. So if I give you 3 numbers, then you know you have 3 sets of that exercise. And at the conclusion of your 8-second exhalation, if I say 2-2-2 and they all have the same number, well then that's simply a 2-beat breath retention at the conclusion of each of those 8-second exhalations within your set of exercise, okay? I know it's complex right now, but once you get into the swing of it, you're really going to have a deep understanding, and it's going to make sense as to how we're announcing the breath retention formula. Another example, if I say your breath retention formula is 2-6-2, that means you perform 3 sets of your breathography breath cycle, right? And then you conclude by holding each of those 8-second engaged exhales with a 2-beat hold, a 6-beat hold, and then a 2-beat hold. Okay, so that was 3 sets of going cyclically through. Now, something else to add here, and we will practice this right now. This is the time and the place to practice the cyclical engaged inhale and engaged exhale. In many exercises, when I cue the zip-up activation, we only perform the zip-up activation once at the beginning of the set of exercise. So for example, if we're doing a split squat, I will begin the split squat with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 1, inhale 2, and we'll go through that 8-second engaged exhale, maybe a 2-beat breath retention, and then we'll go right back into our engaged inhale. 1, 2, blow, hiss, because we're in that same set of exercise. Soft shish, loud shish, hold the breath for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Double engaged inhale right from there. 1, 2, blow, hiss, soft shish, loud shish, engaged exhale, and then your 2-beat breath retention if the breath retention formula was 2-6-2. So you see, once you get into, now that you've developed a mastery of those 3 primary components of the breathography breath cycle, your zip-up activation, your engaged inhale, and your engaged exhale, now we're layering on a little more complexity, right? And it gets really exciting. Woohoo! So you see how much I love this. It's amazing. So if I'm cueing you with a breath retention formula at the beginning of a set of exercise, you only perform that zip-up activation 1 time, and then you go cyclically through your engaged inhale, your engaged exhale, your breath retention, engaged inhale, engaged exhale, breath retention, engaged inhale, engaged exhale, breath retention, engaged inhale, engaged exhale, breath retention, so on and so forth until you complete that set of exercise. You see, so again, another example, if we're doing just some body weight squats, we're always going to start with that zip-up activation, and just for simplicity, let's say that our breath retention formula is 2-2-2, okay? So that means that at the conclusion of each of our engaged exhales, I'm performing a 2-beat breath retention. I'm only going to zip up once at the beginning, and then I'm going to go into that squat pattern with my engaged inhale, my engaged exhale, and a 2-beat breath retention. Engaged inhale, engaged exhale, 2-beat breath retention. Engaged inhale, engaged exhale, 2-beat breath retention, okay? Let's not perform that moving yet, because I just want you to practice adding in a 2-beat breath retention, 1 time zip-up activation, and then 3 sets in a row of our engaged inhale, engaged exhale, 2-beat breath retention, okay? So let's pretend like we're in class right now, and I'm cueing you to go through a wall squat. So you can even come down the wall a little so you start to feel your legs. 1 zip-up activation, and then 3 times through engaged inhale, engaged exhale, breath retention. So just those 3 components. Okay, so let's begin. Let's practice. Inhale, zip up, hiss. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 1, inhale 2, and blow. Hold the breath for 2. 1, 2 engaged inhale, 1, 2, blow. Hold the breath for 2, 1, 2, double engaged inhale, 1, 2, blow. Blow the air out loud, hold the breath for 2, 1, 2, and release. Now, let's continue practicing. Now let's add in a 4-beat breath retention if that feels comfortable to you. Now, we're all starting at different places in terms of our carbon dioxide tolerance and in terms of our cardiovascular fitness, our respiratory strength. Meet yourself where you're at. If you ever feel any pain with any of these exercises, or if you ever feel any excessive dizziness, anything like that, then you know that you're not quite ready for the level at which that you're working, and you want to take a step back, right? I don't always look at it as a regression. It's just meeting yourself where you're at, I mean, you can get a ton out of just performing that 8-second exhalation. We add the retentions when your body is ready for it. Major, major, major benefits to adding in those breath retentions. One of the reasons I have the breath retention at the conclusion of the 8-second exhale is because the ab ribbon is loose. Your abs are very tight. We're just pausing the breath. 2 beats to begin. So you're holding that isolated contraction of those deep abdominal muscles while you're performing the breath retention. So it has amazing muscular core benefits to perform that breath retention, keeping the ribbon loose around your waist while you perform the breath retention. Now, there are some people who will come to, an intermediate or an advanced class, and we're performing some of the longer breath retentions, and maybe they're not, or you are not quite at that level yet. And so therefore, I will perform the 4 or the 6-beat breath retention, or whatever the breath retention is. If you don't feel as though you can quite make it, just focus on keeping the ribbon loose around the waist for the period of time that I say perform that breath hold or perform that breath retention, okay? So let's practice again, and now we're going to perform a 4-6-4 retention formula. So just to review, if I say we're going into a set of exercise and our breath retention formula is 4-6-4, that means we zip up once and we go through our breathography breath cycle of the engaged inhale and the engaged exhale 3 times in a row, and those 3 8-second exhales are concluded by whatever the preposition is, 4, 6, and 4. One is a 4-beat hold, the second one is a 6-beat hold, and the third one is a 4-beat hold. So let's practice pushing ourselves back against the wall, and let me give you a different breath retention formula. We're not going to go up to 6 yet, as many of you are novices learning the breathography fundamentals for the first time, which is very exciting. So we're going to go 2-4-2 as our breath retention formula, okay? Exhale 8, hold 2. Exhale 8, hold 4. Exhale 8, hold 2. Let's go. Zip up, inhale. Hiss 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 1, inhale 2, and blow. Hold for 2. 1, 2. Inhale, engaged inhale. 1, 2. Engaged exhale, blow. Hold for 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. Double engaged inhale. 1, 2. Blow. Loosen the ribbon on the loud shish. Drain the air. Hold the breath for 2. 1, 2, and release. Really, really nice work. And now, again, we do go all the way up to our level 8 breathography. You will not experience any of those longer breath holds. In the beginning workouts, we don't perform any breath retentions. We just focus on the 3 primary fundamental components of the breathography breath cycle, that zip up activation, the engaged inhale, the engaged exhale. But please keep practicing these shorter breath holds in this video, in this lesson, and when you feel as though you have a deep understanding of what muscles are staying engaged when you perform that breath hold, feeling comfortable within the breath hold, keeping the ribbon loose around your waist during the breath hold, and an understanding of what the breath retention formula is when it's announced at the beginning of a set of exercise, then please move on to the next lesson.